The notification sound from our shared tablet made me look up from my laptop. Dana had left it open on the kitchen counter, and I could see her group chat lighting up with messages. I wasn't trying to snoop, but when your wife's phone is buzzing every 30 seconds at midnight, curiosity gets the better of you. Ghost him for a month. He'll crawl back and obey like a trained dog. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I stared at the screen, my coffee mug halfway to my lips. The message was from Maya, Dana's ruthless friend, who treated relationships like corporate takeovers. But it was Dana's response that made me freeze. Already packed for the content retreat. Eric thinks I'm going to Napa for wellness shots. He has no idea I'll be in Cabo with Aiden. When I come back, he'll be so grateful he'll never question me again. More messages flooded in. Jenna. The silent treatment works every time. My husband bought me a car after I ghosted him for 2 weeks. Kate. Are you sure this is necessary? Eric seems like a good guy. Maya again. Good guys finish last. Dana needs to establish dominance. I set my mug down carefully, my hands surprisingly steady. Eric Brennan, 32, software developer, apparently about to be psychologically manipulated by his influencer wife and her pack of suburban sociopaths. The irony wasn't lost on me. I spent my days debugging code, finding flaws in systems, and here I was discovering the biggest bug of all in my own marriage. Dana walked into the kitchen, her phone in hand, completely unaware that her grand scheme was already unraveling. She looked perfect as always. Blonde hair in an effortless bun, wearing designer athleisure that cost more than most people's rent. Everything about her was curated for content. Morning, babe, she said, not looking up from her phone. I'm leaving for Napa today. The wellness retreat, remember? I'll be unreachable for a month. Digital detox and all that. Right, I said, taking another sip of coffee. Wellness. Very important. She finally looked at me, her blue eyes scanning my face for any sign of suspicion. You'll be fine without me, right? I know you're not great at taking care of yourself. The condescension in her voice was nothing new, but now it hit different. Now I knew it was part of a calculated plan to break me down and build me back up as her obedient pet. I'll manage, I said. Have fun with your wellness. After she left, I sat in our pristine apartment. Her pristine apartment, really, since every piece of furniture, every decorative object, every carefully arranged succulent was chosen for its Instagram potential. I pulled out my phone and called Tom, my oldest friend, and the only person who'd never bought into Dana's perfect wife act. She's ghosting me, I told him. What do you mean ghosting? Like, she's ignoring you? I mean she's literally leaving town to psychologically manipulate me into becoming more submissive. She and her friends have a whole strategy. Tom was quiet for a moment. Dude, that's seriously messed up. Yeah, well, she's about to find out that I'm not as helpless as she thinks. Over the next week, while Dana posted carefully staged photos from what she claimed was a silent retreat in Napa, but I knew was actually a luxury resort in Cabo with her gym owner boyfriend Aiden, I got to work. First, I transferred our joint savings to my personal account. Legally, it was half mine anyway. Then I changed all the passwords to our shared accounts, Netflix, Amazon, the works. I called the credit card companies and had myself removed from her cards while removing her from mine. Tom came over to help me pack. This feels like we're robbing your own place, he said, wrapping our expensive coffee maker in bubble wrap. Technically, I'm just taking my half of everything, I replied, carefully removing my gaming setup. She can keep her ring lights and selfie tripods. What about the couch? I looked at the white leather monstrosity that Dana had insisted on because it photographed well. She can keep it. I never liked it anyway. Too white. Too performative. By the time Dana's retreat was scheduled to end, our apartment looked like a crime scene. I'd taken everything that was mine or that we'd bought together with my money. What remained was Dana's influencer equipment, her designer clothes, and a lot of empty space. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen counter with a note. I learned my place, far from you. Consider this my own form of ghosting. Don't contact me. Then I moved into a modest one-bedroom across town and waited. My phone started ringing at 11:13 p.m. on the day she returned. Dana's name flashed on the screen. I let it ring. She called 17 more times that night. I counted. The next morning brought a flood of texts. What the hell did you do? Where is everything? You can't just leave me with nothing. Call me right now. I blocked her number and went to work, but Dana wasn't done. She started calling Tom, my co-workers, even my mother, spinning a story about how I'd had a breakdown and stolen everything from our home. The problem with Dana's approach was that she'd spent 3 years treating my friends and family like they were beneath her. Nobody was particularly sympathetic. She called me crying, Tom told me over lunch, said you'd lost your mind and destroyed your marriage over nothing. What did you tell her? I told her that if she wanted to play psychological games, she shouldn't be surprised when someone plays them better. That's when Dana made her first mistake. She went public. Her Instagram story was a masterpiece of manipulation. Going through a difficult time right now, when someone you love betrays your trust, it's hard to know how to move forward, sending love to anyone else dealing with a partner's mental health crisis. Stay strong, a love wins. Mental health matters. The comments were predictably supportive. Her followers, who only knew the carefully curated version of our relationship, rallied around her. But I had screenshots of the group chat, and I had photos of her in Cabo with Aiden, posted on his social media while she was supposed to be at a silent retreat. I created an anonymous account and started leaving comments with strategic questions. Wasn't she just at a wellness retreat? How does that fit with her husband having a breakdown? Who's the guy in her friend's Cabo photos from last week? Dana's story started developing holes. Her followers began asking uncomfortable questions. And that's when Jenna, Maya, and Kate made their own mistake. They started publicly supporting Dana's version of events, not realizing that I had screenshots of their entire ghost him strategy session. I waited until Dana announced an Instagram live session to address the rumors and share my truth. Then I struck. Halfway through her teary-eyed performance about being abandoned by her mentally unstable husband, the comments section exploded. Someone, definitely not me, I was at work with plenty of witnesses, had posted screenshots of the group chat, including the plan to ghost me, the lies about the retreat, and Dana's confession about cheating with Aiden. I watched the live stream from my office computer. Dana's face went white as she read the comments. She tried to deny it, but the evidence was right there in her own words. The viewer count dropped by thousands in real time as her followers realized they'd been manipulated. "This is fake," she said, her voice shaking. "Someone is trying to destroy my reputation." But it was too late. Screen recordings of her meltdown were already being shared across social media. The wellness retreat lie, the cheating confession, the psychological manipulation plot, it all went viral, but not in the way Dana was used to. Her sponsors started dropping her within hours. That evening she showed up at my new apartment. I watched through the peephole as she pounded on my door, mascara streaming down her face. "Eric, please, we need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding." I didn't open the door. Instead, I called building security. "There's someone harassing me in the hallway," I said calmly. "Could you please have them removed?" Through the door, I heard her screaming about how I'd destroyed her life, how I was a psychopath, how she'd make me pay for humiliating her. Security escorted her out while she threatened to sue me, ruin me, and make sure everyone knew what kind of monster I really was. The next day, Maya and Jenna distanced themselves from Dana publicly, claiming they'd never supported her plan and had tried to talk her out of it. Kate, to her credit, stayed quiet. But the damage was done. Dana's friend group imploded as spectacularly as her marriage. That's when Aiden entered the picture directly. I was leaving work when he approached me in the parking garage. He was exactly what I'd expected. 6'2", spray-tanned, wearing a tank top in October to show off his gym-sculpted arms. The kind of guy who thought intimidation was a valid conflict resolution strategy. "You think you're smart, don't you?" he said, blocking my path to my car. "Smart enough," I replied, pulling out my phone and hitting record. "Is there something you wanted to discuss, Aiden?" His face twisted with confusion. "How do you know my name?" "I know a lot about you, including the fact that you're cheating on Dana with at least 2 other women. Did she not mention that I'm good at research?" "You destroyed her life," he snarled, stepping closer. "She's lost everything because of you." "She destroyed her own life. I just made sure everyone could see it clearly." He grabbed my shirt, and I smiled. "Assault," I said calmly, still recording. "In a parking garage with security cameras, while you're already involved in a public scandal. That's not very smart, Aiden." He let go, but his hands were shaking with rage. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is," I said, getting into my car. "But thanks for the footage. Dana's remaining followers will love seeing what kind of guy she threw her marriage away for." I posted the video that night with the caption, "When you're living your truth, you don't need to threaten people to keep them quiet." Moving on, living authentically. It got 50,000 views in 6 hours, but Dana and Aiden weren't finished. They tried one last desperate play. 2 weeks later, I was having dinner with Tom when Dana, Aiden, and Maya showed up at the restaurant. They'd clearly been drinking, and Dana looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her perfect influencer appearance had cracked completely. Unwashed hair, no makeup, wearing sweatpants and a stained hoodie. "There he is," she announced loudly, pointing at me. "The psychopath who destroyed my life over nothing." Every head in the restaurant turned. I calmly pulled out my phone and started recording again. "Hi, Dana," I said pleasantly. "How's the wellness journey going?" "You think you're so clever," Maya interjected, swaying slightly. "You manipulated everything to make Dana look bad." "I didn't manipulate anything," I replied. "I just stopped participating in being manipulated. There's a difference." Aiden stepped forward, his chest puffed out. "You recorded me without permission. That's illegal." "Actually, in this state, only one party needs to consent to recording a conversation. I consented. Thanks for confirming you remember threatening me, though." Dana started crying then, big dramatic sobs that she'd probably practiced for content. "I loved you," she wailed. "We could have worked through this, but you had to humiliate me publicly." "You humiliated yourself publicly," I said, standing up. "I just refused to be humiliated privately anymore." "You stole everything from our apartment. I took my belongings and my money. You're welcome to sue me if you think I took anything that wasn't legally mine." The restaurant manager approached cautiously. "Is there a problem here?" "No problem," I said, leaving cash on the table for my meal. "These people were just leaving." But Dana wasn't done. She followed me into the parking lot, with Aiden and Maya trailing behind her. "You can't just walk away from me," she screamed. "I made you. Before me, you were nothing. A boring programmer with no social life." I turned around and looked at her, really looked at her. The woman who'd spent 3 years making me feel like I was lucky she'd settled for me. Who'd treated my friends like they weren't worth her time. Who'd planned to psychologically break me down for sport. "You're right," I said. "Before you, I was a boring programmer. But I was also honest, loyal, and capable of genuine emotion. You tried to turn me into a trained dog, but all you did was remind me that I'm actually a human being who deserves better." "Better?" She laughed bitterly. "Better than what? I gave you everything. You gave me a performance, and not even a good one." That's when Aiden made his final mistake. He shoved me, hard enough that I stumbled backward into my car. "Don't talk to her like that," he growled. I straightened up, brushing off my shirt. "Tom, did you get that on video?" Tom, who'd been quietly filming from beside his car, nodded. "Crystal clear, including the part where he assaulted you." "Excellent." I pulled out my own phone and called 911. "I'd like to report an assault in the Olive Garden parking lot on 5th Street. Aiden's face went pale. "Wait, no, that was just what? Just you putting your hands on me aggressively while making threats? In front of witnesses? While you're already involved in a public scandal?" The police arrived within minutes. I showed them the video, gave my statement, and watched as they arrested Aiden for assault. Dana screamed that it was all my fault, that I'd orchestrated everything, that the police should arrest me instead. "Ma'am," one of the officers said patiently, "we need you to calm down, or we'll have to consider a public intoxication charge." Maya, suddenly sober, grabbed Dana's arm. "We need to leave, now." As they dragged Dana away, she turned back to scream at me one last time. "This isn't over. I'll destroy you. Everyone will know what you really are." "They already do," I called back. "That's why you lost." The assault charge against Aiden made the local news. Local gym owner arrested in restaurant parking lot altercation. The story included background about the social media scandal, Dana's failed influencer career, and the divorce. It was the final nail in the coffin of their public reputation. 6 months later, I ran into Kate at the grocery store. She looked embarrassed but approached me anyway. "Eric, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about everything that happened. I never agreed with what Dana and the others were planning." "I know," I said. "I saw your messages in the chat. You tried to talk them out of it. For what it's worth, I think you handled it perfectly. Dana needed to face consequences for once in her life." "How is she doing?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I really wanted to know. Kate sighed. "Not great. She moved back in with her parents, lost all her sponsorships, obviously. Aiden dumped her after the arrest. Apparently, he was more interested in her influencer status than her actual personality. She's working at a department store now and trying to rebuild her social media presence, but nobody trusts her anymore." "And Maya and Jenna?" "Jenna's husband found out about her ghosting strategy and filed for divorce. Maya's still Maya, but she's lost most of her friend group. Turns out people don't like being around someone who treats relationships like war games." I nodded. "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes?" "Exactly." Kate hesitated. "Are you happy? You seem lighter." I thought about it. I was happy. My new apartment was smaller, but actually felt like home. I'd reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with during my marriage. I'd even started dating again, a nice woman from my hiking group who thought Instagram was something you used to share photos with friends, not build a personal brand. "Yeah," I said. "I'm happy. Turns out, when you stop letting people manipulate you, life gets a lot more enjoyable." As I drove home, I thought about the whole experience. Dana had tried to ghost me, to break me down psychologically and rebuild me as her obedient pet. Instead, she'd given me the perfect opportunity to ghost her, permanently. She'd lost her marriage, her career, her friends, her boyfriend, and her reputation. All because she'd underestimated the boring programmer she thought she could manipulate. The irony was perfect. In trying to teach me my place, she'd learned hers. And my place, as it turned out, was far from her.